Welcome back to First and Ken. All right, let's get into this. We've got a good episode today. We've got another 4 topics we're going to get into. This episode might be a little bit shorter than the last one, or it could be a little longer. We'll see where the day takes us. First up, we're going to discuss Anthony Richardson. All right, now, I thought last year when he came out, he had potential to be really good or really bad. Can you guess which one he's been? He's been really bad. All right, to put it in perspective here, Anthony Richardson this year has 958 yards, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, with a QBR of 37.4. Now, to be clear, the max QBR a quarterback can have, like a perfect game, 158.3. Doesn't happen often or ever. But to be 37.4 just shows you just how bad he's been. Now, I don't know if a lot of you watched what actually happened in that game. 3rd down and goal against the Houston Texans. He goes, taps his head, saying, "Oh, I'm tired. I need to come out." Was he injured? No. Did something happen? No. He said he was tired. I'm sorry, but you are a college athlete. You were an NFL athlete. If you did something like that in Florida, man, you wouldn't have been drafted in the first round. I can tell you that right here, right now. Now, obviously, the Colts made the right decision in benching him for the remainder of the year and going with Joe Flacco. At least Joe Flacco, being as old as he is not going to just sit there and tap his head and say, "Hey, I need to come out, bring somebody else in." Because that's not the way he works. He's always been a proven guy who's turned teams around. I mean, look what he did last year. They brought him off his couch last year, and he was phenomenal for the Browns. This year, just this year alone, all right, I went through Anthony Richardson's stats earlier. 958, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 37.4 QBR. He's played 6 games out of the 9. Joe Flacco, in the 4 games that he's played this season, or 3 games, sorry. 3 games that he's played this season, he's got 716 passing yards. All right. Anthony Richardson only has 906. Joe's played half the games. Joe Flacco also has 7 touchdowns to 1 interception with a 73.6 QBR. Now, I don't want to hear you tell me that, hey, it's the team's fault. No, because clearly Joe Flacco being in there is a totally different game. Joe Flacco was born in 1985. He's almost 40 years old. He'll be 40 in January. Okay. For him to just kind of come in off the couch last year and then to sign with the Colts in the offseason and have the kind of production that he's been having, that's why he's going to be playing now instead of Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's, we're not even sure you can stay on the field. Anthony Richardson is reminding me more of a Jamarcus Russell type. Now, Jamarcus Russell, all right, through 4 games played his rookie season in 2007, went 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a 19.8 QBR. 2008, he played 15 games, which is all of them almost, except for maybe 1 back then. He had 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. All right, you say, okay, those numbers aren't as bad. But then he had a QBR of 29.2, and that's because he had 198 completions for 368 attempts with a 53.8 completion percentage for only 2,400 yards in 15 games. Now, Jamarcus is last year in Oakland, 2009. He played 12 games, threw for 1,200 yards, went 3 touchdowns to 11 interceptions with a QBR of 20.7. That's the trajectory that I'm seeing for Anthony Richardson at this point. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback. I don't think he'll be even remotely good. But, maybe he can turn it around if he just sits and he learns and he's patient and he actually listens to Joe Flacco. Maybe he can turn his career around. All right. Now, keep in mind, Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl ring. All right. Joe Flacco, overall, could be a borderline Hall of Fame player. Now, I'm not saying he's guaranteed to be in the Hall of Fame. No, I'm not. Okay, don't mix up what I'm saying here. What I am saying is that Joe Flacco has the potential, with a Super Bowl ring, to get there. Do I think he will? Probably not. I don't think he's at that caliber, but you never know. His career stats right now, he has 192 games played, 4,075 completions on 6,611 attempts, 44,000 yards, 252 touchdowns to 156 interceptions, been sacked 392 times, and he's got a quarterback rating of 84.5. Excuse me. Little cat interruption. Joe Flacco has potential to get there. I don't think he will, but he could. Anyways, back to the main topic here. I don't think Anthony Richardson's the real deal. I think maybe Indianapolis needs to cut ties and move on. Because Anthony Richardson is just a joke. All right, time for topic number 2. I have come up with a list of what I believe is going to be the Rookie of the Year candidates, all right? I'm going to give you my 5 people. I'm going to start at number 5 for the people that I think, on how it's going to go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Then number 1 will be who I think is going to win Rookie of the Year. All right? So let's get into this, all right? So what I think coming in at number 5, I think it's going to be the wide receiver from LSU, Malik Nabers. Hear me out on this, all right? He's been with a shit team in the Giants. Okay, they have not been good. But he has been possibly the only bright spot on that team this year. He's proven to be a go-to wide receiver. He could be the answer for the Giants going forward at the wide receiver spot. They haven't had a good one since OBJ. This year, Malik Nabers has 46 receptions, which is 8th in the NFL, 498 yards, 3 touchdowns, with an average of 10.8 yards per catch. Malik Nabers could be something special. Whether he will be still remains to be seen. I think he comes in at number 5. And no, the team that he plays for does not really kind of matter to me, but I get that he's a Giant and the Giants haven't been great, but it is what it is. Number 4, I'm going to go Bo Nix. We all had questions about Mr. Bo Nix coming into this year with the Broncos. They had Stidham, they had Zach Wilson, and then they drafted Bo Nix. We weren't sure Bo Nix was even going to play. I didn't think he should play. I thought he should have waited a year and started next year. But he showed up in the preseason, and he really showed out, and, good for him. This year, so far, he's got 1,500 yards, just 21st in the league, 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, with a QBR of 53.9. He's not doing bad for a rookie. Now, do I think he's going to be the answer going forward. Do I think he's going to be Drew Brees? No, I sure don't. The real comparison that I can see for Bo Nix, honestly, is maybe like a Geno Smith. Not saying that he's going to be bad or benched or have to go through what Geno did with the Jets. All I'm saying is that he's going to be a suitable starter who can be in the league for a long time because he's not going to be taking hits. He's not going to get hurt. He's going to be manageable. He's going to be a good game manager is really what it comes down to. Now, number 3. You might argue with this, just given that the other wide receiver on this list stats are, they're similar. But number 3, I think we're going to go Brian Thomas Jr. or the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, side note, if you look behind me, you'll see Jason Kelce is about to kick a field goal in Timberlands. This is an ongoing argument that he had. He got called out by McAfee saying, oh, you can't kick a field goal in Tim's. So now they're doing a big charity kick there. So that's what's going on in that screen behind me. Hopefully he doesn't tear his hip flexor doing it. Eagles Hall of Famer right there. Let's see if it goes through. Of course not. He knew it wasn't going to go through. But anyways, back to it. Brian Thomas Jr., 33 receptions, 573 yards, 5 touchdowns, an average of 17.4 yards per catch. Now, we're trying again up here. Will he do it this time? It's all for charity, naturally. But anyways, Brian Thomas Jr. could be a real number 1 wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, if only they could figure out the rest of their team. We'll get into the coaches that are going to be on the hot seat coming up soon. That'll be one of our topics for a little later. Now, number 2 for my Rookie of the Year rankings here. Caleb Williams, quarterback for the Chicago Bears. I don't know if you guys could hear all that static. All right, that sounds better. Caleb Williams this year, to this point, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 45.2 QBR. Now, the reason I'm putting him number 2 is simply what he's done. All right. He's taken the Bears and he's really kind of given them a glimmer of hope. And he's tried to turn around this whole team, which has been a mostly defensive team. And now he saved Matt Eberflus's job. And here's the hoping Caleb will be the answer for the Chicago Bears going forward. Now, number 1, Jayden Daniels, arguably the best rookie quarterback of the year to this point. He's my favorite rookie quarterback up to this point. 1,700 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, QBR 72.6. Clear front runner for the Rookie of the Year. Now, I do think that Jayden Daniels is going to be really good going forward. I think the Commanders may have found the answer that they've needed at the quarterback position for the next 15 to 20 years, right? Jayden Daniels is going to be great. Pick number 2 out of LSU. So, of course, naturally, he's going to ball. He's like the next Lamar Jackson, but better. Lamar's got 2 MVPs already. I think Jayden Daniels could have more than that by the time his career's done. Plus, he'll have a Super Bowl with Washington. Wow. Did I really just say that? A Super Bowl with Washington? Good God. I must be on crack or something. Like, God damn. Hey. Anyways, now let's get into the coaches that should be on the hot seat. Now, obviously, Robert Saleh got fired already. I don't think the interim coach of the Jets is safe. I don't think he's safe at all. But he probably won't get rehired. The next coach on the hot seat, Brian Daboll. Now, why do I say Brian Daboll? All right, usually you'd think, oh, he's an offensive coach. They have Daniel Jones. It should give him some leeway. No, it doesn't. He could have moved off of Daniel Jones, but instead they paid him, so he's stuck. So I think Brian Daboll's gone, and they're going to bring in Bill Belichick next season to try to fix the defense and save the team overall, even though I don't think that's going to do it because Bill Belichick simply just doesn't have it anymore. He's just not going to be a good coach at this point, It is what it is. But anyways, next on the list of coaches on the hot seat, you would think that Dave Canales would be on the hot seat in Carolina because he's got one win. But I don't see that happening because, they're going to give him one more year. All right? All the rookie coaches will probably still get another year. I do think that Doug Peterson will be gone out of Jacksonville because Shad Khan is not the most patient owner in the world. On paper, they have plenty of talent with Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Lawrence. They've got ETN. Tank Bigsby's really come around as a running back. He's done great. He's been good. But I just think Dougie P will be gone at the end of this year, if he even makes it past Thanksgiving, which the Jags ownership has never been one to shy away from firing somebody midway, Now, the next coach on my hot list is Kevin Stefanski. They traded away Amari Cooper. Deshaun Watson's down with the Achilles injury. Jameis Winston, if he plays like Joe Flacco did last year, could save Stefanski's job. However, I think maybe the Browns decide to cut ties with everybody, just go in a different direction. I mean, shit, I might even throw my hat into the job. I know it's not going to go anywhere because it won't even look at it, but hey, I could probably do a better job than half the people they're going to bring in to do that job anyways. But, Next, Dennis Allen, the New Orleans Saints. He'll be gone. They suck. 2-6, Derek Carr, Chris Olave. I mean, Alvin Kamara. You have the people on that team where you could be good. Your division's not great, but yet you're still sitting at 2-6. All right? It's not a good look. He will be gone. So far we've got the Jets, the Saints, the Giants, the Jaguars, the Browns. That's 5. On average, there's about 6 to 8 teams per year that change their head coach. Now, I think if Dallas continues the streak where they're on, where they're not playing well, they just paid Dak, they paid CD, Mike McCarthy could be another one that's gone. On paper, they've got a really good team. They really do. But they're just not performing, and they have not performed in the playoffs, and that ultimately will be the key to Mike McCarthy's departure in Dallas. Now, the last head coach that I think is going to be gone, right, pending how they finish the season, Mike Tomlin. Obviously, Mike Tomlin's going to have a winning record. He always does. But if Russell can't right the ship and keep them on this win streak, right now they're 6-2. You say, why would a 6-2 coach be on the hot seat? He's not. But I think at the end of the year, if the Steelers are not in the playoffs or like going deep in the playoffs, he could look to jump ship and go to a different team and get a change of scenery. I think a change of scenery has been needed for Mike Tomlin. Maybe find a team that's got a quarterback Find a team like, Jacksonville. Say, hey, if they've got Trevor, they've got a good team on paper. The defense is all right. Or Dallas. Say, hey, take that defense in Dallas, really ramp it up, have that change of pace, turn them around. Maybe Mike Tomlin just could use a change in scenery. I think that makes the most sense. But if Pittsburgh does well and they make it deep in the playoffs, he'll probably just stay put. I would like to see Mike Tomlin elsewhere, but, that's just my personal opinion. Now, fourth down. Here we're going to go into NFL tiers, where we're going to establish basically who we think is going to win the Super Bowl. I know we did kind of like a little thing on this last week, but we're going to rank these teams: basement dwellers, pretenders, contenders, and champion potential, and then champion. So our pretenders, obviously teams like the Carolina Panthers, the Titans, the Patriots, the Jets, the Raiders, the Jaguars, the Browns, the Giants, and the Saints. They're done. No. They're gone. They are pretenders at the bottom of the pyramid. No bueno. Adios. Now, potential contenders. These teams, they have bad records, but they could still turn it around. We're looking at the Miami Dolphins with Tua coming back. We're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals. They may be 3-5, but they've been in every game, and it's been close. A couple plays here and there, and they're 5-3 instead of 3-5. Dallas, they have a chance to stay in that division right now. They're 3-4. Washington's, I believe, 6-2. Philly's 4-4. They have time to catch up. Whether they do or not is yet to be determined. Sorry, Philly's 5-2. My mistake. I'm sorry. They can still make a wild card spot. They're not going to win that division, but they're potential contenders. The next team on the potential contender list, I think everybody in this division, so there's going to be 4 teams that are going to be potential contenders. We have the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers. Now, you might just be mind blown like, whoa, the Niners. Yeah, well, that's because this year they suck. They're not doing well. They have not performed well, and they're not the same Niner team that you're used to seeing. All right, they're 4-4, as is most teams in that division, but they're not performing well. Now, you could say, oh, well, they haven't had Christian McCaffrey or Dre Greenlaw. Yeah, I get that, but still, that's 2 players, all right? Kyle Shanahan's supposed to be this wizard, like, oh my god, he can do whatever. He can win the Super Bowl. No, he can't. He can get you there, but he can't win it. And he's proven that he can't win it, all right? We know that he's a potential contender just because he's the Niners and we're giving him the benefit of the doubt. But overall, no. The next potential contender, the Indianapolis Colts. 4-4, second in the division. Houston just took a loss Thursday night. Broke my heart. But maybe with Joe Flacco, I need to see how Joe does as the main guy going forward before I can say that they're going to be a legitimate contender. All right, yes, his stats have been great as we discussed earlier, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. All right. But hey, it is what it is. Now, the next tier is the playoff hopefuls, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco. No, they're done. The Chicago Bears. Who would have thought they'd be a playoff hopeful here? Atlanta, Denver, they're all sitting right there. Okay, each division has 3 wild card teams now, so there's potential to really build up. Now, I do think the NFC, the wild card teams are pretty much all going to be from the NFC North, so the Packers, the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings, they're all going to be in there. That's just my opinion. They're all really good this year. They're all going to be sitting right in there. They're going to be in the playoffs. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun to watch. Now, we have the next tier, which is going to be basically our locks to make the playoffs. Steelers, the Texans, the Vikings, the Packers. They're going to be in. All right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now that brings us up to our top 5. So these 5 teams all, I think, have a legitimate chance to make a deep run in the playoffs. But the team that's going to be ranked number 1 is who I think is going to actually win the Super Bowl this year. Now, coming in at number 5 on the First and Ken hierarchy, we'll call it, for the top 5 teams, we're going to put the Washington Commanders. Mainly because, well, we haven't seen enough. Jayden Daniels is a rookie. We know what happened with Dan Quinn down in Atlanta when he was the head coach there. They went to 1 Super Bowl, and then they fell off a cliff. We'll see what actually happens, all right? I think that they've got potential. They could get that number 1 seed from Detroit if Detroit falters, and they could be right there. We'll see. They've looked legit. All right. I get that they just barely scraped by the Bears, but a win's a win, and a loss is a loss. Doesn't matter how you win; it just matters that you win. And they're 6-2 right now. And Jayden Daniels, Rookie of the Year. This is the Houston Texans of last year in the Washington Commanders. All right. Now, number 4. I'm going to put the Kansas City Chiefs for right now. Why number 4? When you have Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy. They just picked up DeAndre Hopkins. I swear, I don't know why the NFL let that happen, but hey, whatever, man. D-Hop will be great there. But when you're going for a 3-peat, it is so hard. It's hard to get 2, which they've done. Getting 3 is unheard of. Ain't nobody's ever done it. You could argue, well, the Bills made it there 4 times in a row. Yeah, but they lost all 4. Okay? The Chiefs will not 3-peat. I'm putting them at number 4. Now they're going to lose to the Buffalo Bills coming in at number 3. The Bills, Josh Allen has been basically Superman for them all year. He has been. He's been great. All right. Amari Cooper just showed up, which led to the emergence of Keon Coleman, who's had a couple really good games since Amari's been there. And they're really starting to come together, be themselves. They're being the Buffalo Bills that we know and we love. James Cook is being a force in that backfield. I love how they're playing. They're playing tough. They're being physical. And they're getting the job done. Are they going to make the Super Bowl? No. The next 2 teams is the Super Bowl matchup that I believe will happen. Quote me now. All right, we're going to have the Detroit Lions playing against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I know that it's going to be a shock, but I don't see the Ravens winning. I know. It's the Ravens coming in number 2. Why are they number 2, you might ask? We've seen Lamar play in big games. We've seen the way that he just kind of shrinks. We've seen what happens in the playoffs. The fact that he's going to get to a Super Bowl is going to be shocking in and of itself. And the fact that the Detroit Lions lost their best edge rusher and are still just destroying the competition and having fun while doing it. Man, coming in number one, the Detroit Lions. Man, let me tell you something, all right? They have just been manhandling everybody this year. All right. I believe their last game, they tried to get touchdowns to Penei Sewell. They were just trying to throw the ball to the lineman, man. Like, it was absolutely insane. All right, so they're 6-1. They beat the Rams. Done. But they lost to the Buccaneers, which is their one loss, which is only by a last-minute touchdown. They beat the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Cowboys. They beat 47-9. 47-9. Now I get that they had their bye in week 5, so it's a long way to go without a break. But still, then they beat the Vikings 31-29. Then last week, by God, 52-14 against the Tennessee Titans. Tell me right now that you don't think the Lions are legit. Dan Campbell has turned that team around. If you think about what happened when Matt Patricia was there, now when Dan Campbell's there, night and day. Night and freaking day, man. The Lions are for real. The Motor City Kitties are going to be Super Bowl champions this year. Mark my words. Now that I've said it, it probably won't happen. But, we're just having fun. So, it is what it is. But that is our hierarchy there. Well, I reserve the right to update this hierarchy as the season goes. So there will be other episodes that have it in it, and we'll kind of just see how it plays out. But right now, I think the Lions are the most legitimate Super Bowl contending team that we have. All right? All right, that does it for today. Find us on YouTube by searching First and Ken on YouTube. This will also be posted up on the Facebook page, just like the last one was as well. Stay tuned for next week. It's been real. We'll see you next time.